Vanakkam. Now I am going to uh, discuss about the legal opinion in my part 2 of this video presentation. And before going to that, I once again request you have to read the entire legal opinion from beginning to the end, because some conditions will be given by the advocate, and you have to report if there is any thing is to be followed or not. And the advocate has to give a specific requirement, specific certificate stating that he has personally scrutinized the title deed of the property and the records before giving the legal opinion. So there is a specific column in the legal opinion whether he has personally verified all the records of the customer and all the title deeds, all parent documents. He has personally scrutinized everything. He has to give in his report. And I want to once again say that this legal opinion verification is ocean. So, to the maximum extent I cover in this presentation. If there is anything I want to say, I'll cover in my next video presentation. Next certificate, the bank, that is the bank panel advocate, what he has to give, he has personally inspected the regional registrar office, and he has personally verified the encumbrance certificate, encumbrance position from the registrar, from the registrar of the registrar. He has to do it because this is a specific requirement. Now it's being required from the advocate by the bank. This is because in the earlier years, you can manipulate some entries. That is, I said some way back, some 15 years, 20 years back. Now it is not possible because after computerization it is not possible, and that too due to some technical error also, some of the entries will not come in the income certificate. So in order to safeguard banks' interest, banks say that require the advocates to go and personally inspect the register of the registrar about is there any encumbrance or not. All the advocates, they have to specifically give this certificate. Then another thing is boundary should be clearly mentioned. What is north, south, east, west, everything has to specifically, clearly mention in his legal opinion, and you have to compare the boundaries with the title deed. And if there is any difference, you have to cover that point in your report. And you see that legal opinion is to be done only during statutory audit concurrent. No, even for revenue audit also, during revenue audit, during stock audit, even for NPA audit, any audit, if there is one column in the report, any other views and suggestions to be given by you to the management, you can add that this is a defect in the legal opinion, defect in the title deed. Everything you got the right. You have to report only from the auditing angle. Your role is to report. That's all. If it is there, if anything to be added, anything to be corrected, if you are not agreeable, then you please record, because we are just giving our observation, our views. That's all. Then another thing is boundaries should be clearly mentioned. This you have to compare this with the title deed, that is original title deed of the borrower, and whether the extent is properly mentioned, whether boundaries have been properly mentioned or not. Then the advocate has to give the tracing of title. What is tracing of title? That is, there will be a list of documents which the advocate he has verified. He has to give his opinion about the list. About the listing of title deeds he has verified, listing of documents he has verified, listing of records he has verified. So suppose if you are the owner, you have got the document, then how you acquire, and that person where he acquires, then the tree goes like that till for 30 years. This is a thing you have to see from the, you can read this from the legal opinion, and even you can do your own legal opinion. Even you can do own your legal opinion exercise. Then compare that with the opinion given by the advocate. If there is any difference, you have to report. Because once again, I'm saying that your role is to give your view in your report only. Because as an auditor, you are observing that the surveying this is different. Then another exercise is there is encumbrance certificate which the borrower has taken for 30 years. Here, the opinion is given by the advocate by way of scrutinizing the title deed and documents and records. You compare and you see that all the entries in encumbrance certificate is being discussed by the panel advocate in his opinion or not. If there is anything missed or if anything is not discussed, then you can give your observation in your report. So this is this item which is being reflected in the encumbrance certificate is not being mentioned by the panel advocate in his opinion. This then you don't recommend. You just this is the thing I have found out from the verification. Don't recommend that. Don't go beyond that. So this is entry available in AC. This is not available in the legal opinion. This is my view. That ends your presentation. Don't your observation. Don't go beyond that because it is the duty of the bank to get the details from the advocate whether those details are the real base, whether there is any omission or not, whether that omission affects the title over the property. Then, in the legal opinion, the advocate has to give specific remark. The document contains how many pages. Normally, in few documents, the last page will be missing. That is, in Tamil it is called Anubandham, or in English it's called schedule of property. That last page will be missing. So that details the advocate has to give in his opinion. That is, number of pages should be clearly mentioned. And in the report, he has to specifically mention whether he has verified original deed or registered deed or Xerox copy or copy of the document. Everything he has to give a specific observation in his report. If he has mentioned that original deed, so you can do this exercise also. You take the legal opinion. There will be list of documents verified by the advocate. You see that all those documents are in the file or not. This is the thing you can do it. You have to do it because this is very much important. Sometimes that document might have been misplaced by the branch, or some maybe they might have kept in the some other file. So it is a duty of the auditor to see whether the title deeds or records described by the advocates are available for your verification or not. You please go through it. If anything is not available for your verification, you see that entry number 14, it is not available. This document is not produced for my verification. Don't say that it is not available. It is not produced for my verification. This is the way in which you have to report, and the advocate has to see that whether he has verified original, registered, Xerox, or copy of the document, everything he has to give specifically. The advocate has to cover in his point in his opinion. And about the description of the properties with survey number and extent, that also the advocate has to give in his opinion. This survey number has got this much of extent, everything he has to give. And what is your duty in this? What is your role in this? There will be patta will be there. You take patta copy, you compare that patta copy with the survey number mentioned in that patta with the opinion, with the legal opinion. Whether the numbers tally, then that means it's okay. If the number is not tally, there may be resurvey. So due to that also there will be difference. But your role is to observe and say that the patta number mentioned in the document is this, patta number mentioned by the advocate and the legal opinion is this. There is a difference. That is our role. Don't go beyond that. Then the advocate has to clearly mention the tracing title. I request all the auditors to read the tracing of title from top to bottom. And even I request you to read the entire legal opinion from top to bottom. Sometimes some advocate may say that this is the document the borrower has to produce before availment of loan. He would have mentioned in the tracing of title, but in the last para he will say that this customer, this borrower, this person can create equitable mortgage in favor of the property subject to the my discussion, subject to my discussion. In that manner, he will give certificate. So normally, what bankers they rely on advocate opinion. They go to the last page, last para. They see that if advocate says you can create equitable mortgage, then they will create equitable mortgage. For want of time, they will not gone for the reading of the entire document. So, being an auditor, whether you are a statutory auditor, whether you are a concurrent auditor, read the legal opinion from top to bottom. If there is any omission, you have to record it. You have to record, you have to give your observation. Then I already said encumbrance certificate discussion. You have to go through deeply all encumbrance certificate. The date of this state to this state, whether entire dates have been covered, because you have to take 30 years. Suppose if you have produced some 4 ECs, 5 ECs, EC means encumbrance. So dates would have been omitted. So whether all the dates are in order, whether entire 30 years have been fully covered, then you have to see, then discuss about the encumbrance certificate, and you see that evidence of possession is being specifically mentioned by the advocate, and what are the documents to be deposited for title and deposit of title of documents. What are the things you have to that the borrower has to deposit has to be specifically mentioned by the advocate. There is a list. Then after sanction of the loan, uh, if you ask the customer to go and register, he will not do it. But normally there will be 30 days time from the date of sanction. The memorandum of deposit titles has to be uh, made. But bankers they say that you go and first create deposit of title is charge, then only we release the loan. So for that, what are the documents to be deposited? The advocates he has to specifically mention whether all those documents have been really deposited at the bank, whether all those entries have been found in the deed. Then the auditor has to verify the MODT, Memorandum of Deposit or Title Deeds document. That document. Then, if it is not there, then the auditor has to say that MODT copy is not produced for verification. Don't say that it is not available, it is not produced for verification. Then, uh, after registration, then once again the borrower has to take encumbrance certificate from the last day. Suppose if 2 months before EC is taken and now he has deposited, so the encumbrance certificate covering the date of MODT, he has to once again take the uh, EC. Then that EC has to be verified by the advocate. He has to give specific. He has to give his supplementary opinion that MODT is being created. Then he has to create the certificate of title. That is, the advocate has to give specific certificate saying that this person has got the title over the property. He can create mortgage. Everything he has to specifically mention in his report. And only after giving clearance certificate to create mortgage, only the advocate has to hand over the opinion to the manager along with the covering letter. Then once again I'll repeat, covering letter is appointment letter, then reference letter given by the bank, then is in his legal opinion, and all the original titles, everything he has to put in a cover, separate cover, seal it, and hand over to the uh, bank. This is the procedure, and the cover should be opened by only by the branch head and not by the customer. Then what are the things normally? You differ with legal opinion. When this is all my experience, normally I used to compare patta with title deed, there'll be definitely survey number will differ. That I'll report. And in some of the parent documents, legal hand description will be missing. Suppose in some of the document, this person has acquired the property due to the death of this person. So this would have happened some 20 years back. It is very difficult to get the death certificate or legal hardship certificate on that date. The if the advocate has he will in his tracing of title he will discuss, and you can say that I observe that no death certificate for this person is produced for wife for this document, and no legal hardship certificate is produced. This is then you have to give your observation. And sometimes survey numbers due to typographical errors, survey number typing will be missed. Then that also you have to see. Then patta transfer. Normally, when the person sells the patta, he has to hand over the person who is buying the property. He has to transfer the patta in his name. If maybe that patta will be still standing in the name of the original seller. So you have to say that patta has to be transferred. Even an advocate in his legal opinion, he will say that patta has to be transferred before sanction of the loan. That manner only he will give. And sometimes he may say that before during the course of transaction also the patta transfer should be made. Then compare easy entries with the title deeds verification, that also we have discussed, and see that is there any missing documents as per the EC, that we already discussed. Then another thing is encumbrance certificate has to be taken every year, and when you go for audit, then you see that what is the latest encumbrance certificate. And if it has taken some 2 years back, you can cover in your report saying that encumbrance certificate is not taken this year or from this date to this date. You have to give this observation in the report, in your report, and you can say where you have to report this. You have to report in long form audit report, or if it is very serious nature, even you can report in your main report. And vetting of audit, vetting of legal document has to be done by other panel advocate. What is vetting? That is after execution of all loan documents and charge creation, and even that vetting advocate has to give his opinion, saying that he has covered all things, and if there is any difference, then he has to cover in his report. So the as an auditor, you have to see whether vetting of document is done by other advocate. If there is no such thing, then you have to cover that point in your report. And in case normally in case of outright purchase of property, the documents will be at the register office, and for want of time or want of some difficulty, the person is not able to get the document back. That is, the manager is not able to get the document back. Right? When you are going for the audit, you see that in the case of outright purchase of house property, the original sale deed in favor of the borrower is available or not. This is definitely almost in 90-95% is available. I have noticed some eight cases or 10 cases in my experience that those documents have not been available for verification. So you have to see that all the in case of outright purchase of house, those documents have been availed or not. I mean, it's available for your verification or not. That you have to give in a report. And you see that in the apartment, the construction should be done as per the plan approval. That advocate has to give that construction is as per the plan approval. The UDS area is covered. The property which he is going to give as mortgage is within that UDS limit, within that sanctioned approved limit, approved sanctioned area. That observation he has to give in his report. There will be some due to some technical adjustment by the builder. This may differ, but being an auditor, you see that the advocate has given a specific column, specific report that this property is being purchased within the plan approved area. That you have to see. Only to the extent of plan approval, the mortgage has to be done. Sometimes penthouse will be there. They will adjust, some builders they will adjust UDS area, and they see that penthouse will be sold to someone. That should not be done, because penthouse there is no sale deed for the Penthouse is allowed. But you see whether everything is correct or not. Being an auditor, your role is to just read the legal opinion and give your observation and views. Don't go further. And if original sale deed towards the partition, sale of part of land, gift settlement deed is not available, you see that where is it and whether the advocate has discussed those points in his report or not. And another thing is when any loan is being taken over from other bank, normally the opinion is given by the advocate based on the Xerox copy produced before. Then after the loan taken over, all the suppose if it is being taken over from Mr. X, I mean X bank, then by Y bank, then after the receipt of all documents from X bank by Y bank, the once again a fresh legal opinion based on the original document the bank has to give. In case of takeover, being an auditor, you see that fresh legal opinion based on the original deed the bank has obtained fresh legal opinion or not. This is the thing I want to say about the legal opinion. Once again, I say that you should be a master of law in reading the title deed. You enrich your knowledge by reading more legal opinion. And I wish you all the best. And I definitely I know that few items have been to be covered that I'll cover in my separate video. And I want to conclude my presentation. And thank you once again for watching my presentation. I once again request you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ravindran V. Thank you. Nandri Vanakkam.